Hey, what's going on, family? It's your boy Joe, and welcome again to the Mailroom. All right, now, so family, have you ever had a friend that you came up with, that you hung out with all the time? It was your boy, that was your girl, and y'all did everything together, spent all of your time with each other. And then as life kind of moved on and you got older and had responsibilities, you really didn't get a chance to hang out as much as you used to. And it seemed like whenever you did, it was when something was kind of going on in their lives. Maybe a girl was tripping, or maybe they just broke up with their boo. And as much as you hated to see them in pain or that they weren't happy, you were still kind of a little bit glad that you got a chance to spend a little bit of time with them. Or even, in relationships. In the very beginning, you know what I'm saying, you're all happy, you're spending time and you're kicking it with each other. And then, as the relationship kind of settles in, you start to have responsibilities, and maybe you get married, have kids. And then now you don't get a chance to hang out, and do the fun things anymore. And it seems like when you do have time with each other, it's always when you're talking about something, or when you have to, deal with a situation with work or with kids and things of that nature. And even though you really don't get a chance to have fun times when you're with each other, you still love the fact that you're still with each other, and you miss some of that. You know what, now that I think about it, I don't really like that example. I think the best example is kind of like with kids. And so you remember like when kids are 3 or 4 years old, I call it that real cool age when they're old enough that they don't have fits and they can tell you what they want and they're still fun before they stop liking you. And then, back then, when they're about that age, every time you walk in the door, they're like daddy or mommy, and they're running up to you. They love you. They're always wanting to be around with you. They're talking to you all the time. And then they start getting a little bit older, and they don't need you as much. And then once they get to be about teenagers, they speak to you like maybe every once in a while when they need something, or even when they want you to take them somewhere where you're not going to be. And even though it seems like the only time you really get a chance to spend time with them is when you're doing something for them, or when they need something, and you just really love the time that you're spending, but you wish it was under different circumstances. And sometimes it's really only when they're in trouble or when they're in pain that they really need you. And there's sometimes where you can actually see the pain coming and you want to bail them out, but you really can't. But all you can do is really just make sure that when they do want to have that time with you, that you can prepare for it, you know what I'm saying? And then what you do is you kind of, I call it, you say, hey man, you're good, let's go get some wings, or let's go hang out, or we'll sit over around the house and just, order some pizza and watch an old movie so we can have some of that communion time with one another. I think that's kind of sometimes how God is with us. He longs to be around with us, but it seems like the only time when we ever really have time with us is when something is either removed from our lives or when we're in pain. And God, in his sovereignty, he can actually remove all the pain. He can just make it so that we're happy all the time, But at the same time, we want to be happy on our own. And he has to kind of sit back and watch all of this happen, and then just kind of wait for us to come back to him. And what he kind of does, I love it how sometimes when we're going through some of the things, I think that God does kind of like that same thing as we do with our kids. He kind of says, he goes to the store, he picks up some goodness and some mercy, and he says, I'm going to prepare this table before you in the presence of your situation and your enemies, so when you come back and you want to spend some time with me, we can have a good time together. I love the story of the prodigal son for a lot of reasons, but probably for the most part because it's kind of like an autobiography. But in the prodigal son, it spends a lot of time talking about the son, but I really think a lot of it has a lot to do with the father. You know what I'm saying? So, the father gives his son his inheritance and lets him go off, and his son is just running out there, just, getting into entanglements and just wilding out. Now, the thing is, I believe that all along, the father knew exactly where his son was. I mean, for one, he just gave him half of his ends, half of his fortune. Best believe he knew where that boy was at, and he knew what he was doing. And probably anywhere along the line, he probably could have, had some of his servants go out there and, pull that boy out of there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to waste my money with all this. Or even when he was in that pit, when he was in the pig pen, he could have bailed him out, but he didn't. And what I believe, is that he was all along waiting for his son to return to him. And so when the son finally came to his senses, and it says that he returned back to his father's house, one of the things that it says is that the father saw him from afar off. And I really think that the part of the reason why the father saw him is because he knew he was coming. he had been waiting for him the whole entire time, you know what I'm saying? And when he did get there, you know, he ran to him. He embraced him, he kissed him. He didn't make the son have to go ahead and do all this, whatever. He said, you know, man, I got this fatted cat, I've been prepping for this very day, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of what God does for us. He just wants us to be close to him. And sometimes we have to go through the pig pen in order for that to happen. I know that, you know, for me, I don't want any more pig pens to drive me back to be closer to God. I mean, in this new day and time, we have so many different things that are like distractions that can have us all over the place. And I just want to make sure that I want to encourage you to just, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to be like, oh, I'm going to dedicate 4 hours of my life to God every single day. That we just take a minute to just be like, you know, hey, it's your boy. I'm here. I love you. You know, holler at me. Let's commune for a quick minute. And I think that God is kind of happy with that. Like I say all the time, you know, that might not be what's in the book, you know, but it's still a word. And I'm gonna go with that. As always, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and listening to me rant for these few little minutes. If this is something that blessed you, you know, be sure to like it, share it with somebody, you know, type in the name of a friend or even an enemy that you think might need to hear it. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys again next Thursday. Once again, this is your boy Joe, and this is the Mailroom. I love you, and I will see you soon. Peace.